Alright, today we're going to be doing something a little bit different. We're going to get extra nerdy, and we're going to be putting together a power supply from China. Yes, sirree. Power supply from China. Now, if you follow my other videos, you'll know that I've been switching over to these. They're super accurate. They're amazing for electroplating and electroforming. This one is more powerful. So the ones that you saw in previous videos, those were only like little 5 amp jobs. This one is a 20 amp monster. Okay, and this is the largest one they make. Now, as you notice, it comes in 2 different parts. It has this unit right here, which is the main source of power, and this actually makes it so the power outputs correctly via amperage and voltage. It's also Bluetooth, believe it or not. I haven't even tapped into the whole Bluetooth thing. But it does come in about 15 pieces, okay? And if you've never soldered, I am going to solder the whole entire thing together in this video. Just in case you are interested in purchasing one of these, you know, like it's one of those, you know, model kits. Think of it that way. You know, you get glue, you put the model together. It's a little bit easier maybe than that, but it does require a little bit of dexterity, and I tend to walk you through it very slowly in case you've never done it. But if you can make fine, intricate soldering connections sometimes, or just at least use a soldering iron, you're good to go. Cool. So let's get started with the project. Alright, so first off, you got this little control module right here, okay, where the power comes in and out. And I mounted this fan. It's got 4 screws. That's really easy. So now what we do is this will go right here. It can go here, it can go here, it can go here. I'm going to put it here. Red is positive, black is negative. Okay. Get rid of that. Then I'm going to strip these and tin the wires first. Alright, so tinning the wires is just basically taking a little bit of solder and putting it on the wire to keep it from fraying. Makes it a little easier to put them down in those holes. You get a club, you just go like that. Sweet. Adjusting the focus manually on this camera. There we go. Nice. So positive, negative. Really helps having like one of these helping hand things. So voila, and now I could just solder onto the other side. Those just like that. And hook all that, bam, bam. There we go, nice and clean. In case you're new to electronics, the square, in this case, there is a square piece and a round piece. It's kind of see that over here better. See the square, round? Square is going to be represented by negative, round is going to be positive. Okay, square, negative, round, positive. So what we got to do is hook some wires up to, they came with this wire. I'm going to hook it up to this one. I'm going to solder it onto this side just like I did this one. These are rather larger wires, so there's a thing called cold solder that you don't want to have happen. You heat up the wire sufficiently along with that ring at the same time, and then you push your solder into it. Hold it there, then let go. Repeat. Again. It really helps to tint your wires ahead of time because that way you don't get cold wires. They go in there really nice, and then you can trim them off after the fact with flush cuts that are floating around here somewhere, and not right here. So just a little cut right there. Oh, there it is. Nice. Okay, so they don't give you a whole lot of this wire. It's red and black. I do have a whole bunch of this other wire though, and what I'm doing is hooking up the switch. The switch doesn't have amperage going through it as much, so it's just a key of some nature. Doesn't have the voltage running through it. In this case, it just tells it on or off. It's kind of a binary switch. Okay, so this stuff right here, again, positive, negative, it doesn't really matter too much here because, again, it's zeros and ones. But connect two wires to this. I'm just using solid core wire. And just to keep with the theme of it, maybe I'll do one wire at a time. Again, I can't stress how many times helping hands are just key essentials to building one of these, or anything for that matter. Nice. There we go, just like that. Okay, so for those new to soldering, just make sure that you test these things with a multimeter. This is a Harbor Freight multimeter, cheapest one on the planet. Just make sure it's in diode mode. Make sure that this is plugged into the diode mode. The Centec digital multimeter. These come in many different variations, but just make sure it's in like short circuit mode. So when I can touch these two together, what will happen, it'll reach 0. Okay? So what I'm doing here is put that down there so you can maybe see it. And I want to test these. I know they're good, but just in case you're new to soldering, what I would do is, test these to make sure they're not going to 0. Okay? Cool, because these shouldn't touch. Alright, so these are your banana plugs. They go right here. The top one's positive. You'll notice that if you take them all the way apart, just make sure that you know how you put them back together here. What we want to do is have it like that, so that it goes into this key. That way they're not short-circuiting. Okay, now put one in there. Don't put the last one on because that's how we hook it up to the board. So this is your input. Keep this nut off, and I'm going to put the negative at the bottom. Alright, now the control little module goes on there just like this. And I do have a silly amount of slack for the fan. We'll call it a growth opportunity for later on. And then you just add these nuts, tighten those down. There's a lot of room underneath this motherboard module, this thing. So you could fit all kinds of wires and hide everything. Alright, so we have the wires that go to the motherboard. I'm just calling it a motherboard. These get hooked up to the switch. And it doesn't matter which one or which side. I'm just going to go red, black. Black in the middle. So I'm going to end up cutting it and soldering it to this. Another possible cold solder problem here. Make sure that you're heating this post up. What I like to do is heat it from the one side and feed solder to the other side. Notice the solder won't even melt until that post is sufficiently hot. That's what's nice about using a 25 watt iron. It's like you don't risk damaging anything. And there we go. Sweet. So a little solder, you know, like on this side of it, will kind of heat the part, superheat it very quickly. So notice I'm like sometimes attaching some solder to the silver, and all of a sudden, bam, it gets really hot. like that. The ridiculously long wire actually tucks nicely around it. Alright, so let's talk about airflow. This is where the air comes in. It sits up on these little pegs, which is about 1/8 of an inch off the table. Not much airflow. So here, this is my hottest part. I would want to put this near my opening. Okay? So when you do this, make sure that you're mounting this at the hottest area so that air can escape. Now, if you look at this module, or the controls, on the inside of this, put this in on that, you'll see that it says LCD and key. Well, it also says that here, LCD and key, so make sure that you're putting those in the right area. Now, the wires will actually run underneath the whole thing. So that snaps into place. These wires stick out like that. You can see there's a lot of clearance here. There's nothing heating up on the bottom. So those set in there like that. Cool. So now what I can do is screw from the bottom and put this in place. Okay, this thing has 2 modules that come with it to interface later if I wanted to. Alright, this one is for Bluetooth. If I want to hook up an Android phone, that'd be perfect, and I do have an Android phone, so I'm going to be using this one. Now if I wanted to hook up a computer to it, I can use this one, and it's got a nifty little port right here that you could stick that out of. Now it's either one or the other, unfortunately. So, you know, I'm using this for electroforming and electroplating. I'm not going to have a computer anywhere near this thing. Yeah, probably not too good for the computer. So I'm going to use this one so I can interface it with my phone. Yay. Now, this one doesn't have to be put right down here. It could be put anywhere. I'm thinking mounting it right here. Also at the very bottom of this, you can see that there's only 2 leads. So I'm going to probably mount this with hot melt, to be honest with you. I can take this cover off and mount it right there. Also, if you know anything about hot melt, if you just, let's say I want to take this off later on, it'll never ruin it because you could just put like a drop, take this thing off, take a drop of rubbing alcohol, put it on the surface of this black, let it seep underneath, and it will instantly remove the hot melt bond. It's like a de-hot melter. Hot melt glue. There we go. Perfect. Alright, so the module connects via this wire that they supplied. It's hooked up to the USB one, so I'm going to unhook it from the USB one. And in case I decide to do something else in the future with that, I don't know. Oop. So this connects to this. Just like that. And then this connects to this little 4-port right here. Just like that. So now I can put this back on. And again, hide some wires. So where to hide wires at? I can move this module or this plug. Then put this under here. Thinking about maybe a couple loops. Yeah, like that. I'll work on logistics here in a minute. Okay, so the kit came with a whole bunch of these. So, the secret here is we cut these wires, but don't cut them so short. Leave a little growth room. And my positive is at the very top there. These must be the dullest. There we go. Okay, the secret to these things is don't think you can just clamp these on. Solder them on. My favorite tool. Again, tint the wires. In this case, you got a lot of sensitive electronics, and you want to do this to the side. I'll put one on just to show you how it's done. Lots of heat. Tint the wire. Slip one of these on. Let it just flow into it. Just like that. Perfect. Now do the other wire. Alright, so those go on to in negative, in positive. They slip on right underneath that. Just like that. This is why I suggested making them a little longer so that you can manipulate that on. Now, if you can't get it between those two, because that's kind of a wire locking bracket, just on top is fine too. So we could have probably done without the fork. Alright, so let's see what we got here. Yeah, that's good. Alright. I'm going to put it on the other one. Off camera so I can see what I'm doing. Red one was surprisingly easier. Okay, so it should go something like that. Alright, learning my lesson from the first go. The remainder of this red and black wire has to be used for the output. And you could skip through this if you wanted to. I mean, this is the boring stuff. Yeah, I just dreamed that a little bit better, I guess. Okay, cool. So they did provide more of these. Yay! I'm just going to put them on the other ends. Okay, let's try that again. Yeah, for some reason they work a lot better now compared to the other. Alright, so again I have to keep this sort of out of the way and make sure they don't cross. So that's why I left them kind of long. Now you wouldn't think that would be a pain in the butt, but really, yes, that not fun. Okay, so now to mount the banana clips into the front. Same way as you did before in the back. Take it all out. I'm going to put the red one on top. washer, and then after the washer, put the nut on, and then after the nut, you put the fork on. Okay, so it goes something like that, and then the other nut goes on top of it. I don't think I could do this on camera, so I'm going to just tighten this off camera. You get the idea. Alright, so there we go. Negative on the bottom, positive on the top. And these have no way of intersecting with each other. That's good. Same with this side. Okay, there we go. Not bad. I'm just going to tuck some wires in and kind of make sure nothing's intersecting with anything hot. Like this, for example, probably not good. And then just tidy up the wire some. Final wires. Final wires. Now, unfortunately, I will not have to be able to go much further because the rest of this unit, well, this is just, again, the control module, or the controller for the actual power supply itself to control amperage, control voltage, but below there's another thing that sits here that actually cranks out the juice to go into this, so that connects into the back, and that is still on its way from China. But this is part one. Alright, so here's part two. This one is a power supply I have laying around. It'll work for right now for the demonstration. They're all the same. This in case was 24 volt 15 amp, and what I ordered for that one over there is actually a 48 volt 20 amp. So again, pretty close. What you'll need is a 3-prong plug for America. If you live in Europe, you're on your own. These hook up. Green is your ground. Okay. Neutral is white, and black is load. Just like that. I have these old banana plugs. I ordered some really nice, some nicer ones around the way too. But for right now, here are some banana plugs. I'm going to use positive, negative. So I need to strip these ends. Again, all hail the wire strippers. And I'm going to just take both these wires. This is overkill, very much overkill, as far as the thickness of wire that I need. Again, negative, positive. And you can see that they're labeled here. All three of these are negative and all three of these are positive. So it doesn't matter where you put these at. I'm just going to put them further and furthest away from each other. Maybe trim up this wire just a little bit. Now, when I was thinking what type of connectors those are in the control module, it would be these. See these? These are the nice ones. They look very identical. They are very different. And I think it's because the screw stays, it doesn't rotate the base because it's trapped between this plastic. There we go. So it doesn't matter where you put these on, anywhere with these three negative, anywhere with these three positive. And now I have a positive and negative to be replaced with better banana plugs later on. Okay, cool. Now let's hook it all together, see what happens. See if I can blow it up. If I blow this up, I should just post it anyway. Alright, so let me find the 3-prong cord. Alright, so you plug in your positive, negative, got your little switch. Switch shuts it off. Switch turns it back on. Switch also turns off the fan. That's very important. That's why this little module exists, is because with that switch off, it turns off both the fan and the unit. That's why that little green card in the back. So here's the interface with the Android. I don't know what I ever use this for, but see there's a lot of different things here on the network. I'm going to say it's probably that one. Oh, no, it's that one. Enter a pair. Try 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay. 1, 2, 3, 4. Ooh. Alright. Now the application does come with it. Oh, there it is. DPS. Okay, so it's off right now. Let's see if we can turn it on. So I chose that Bluetooth button, and oh wow, there it goes. And this should shut it off. Red. Hey. Now you can be obsessed with your electroforming all night long. Yay. Hey, my amps keep jumping. So that's what it does. It basically gives you a readout of your amps. I'm pretty sure you could set this too. Oh yeah, look at that. It's changing that value right there. Wow. Pretty sweet. And this would be setting your amps. It's just the brightness on that. Wow. Hey, English, nice. I love I can't wait to hook it up to see this, the curve. How crazy it gets, I bet. Nice. So that is the Bluetooth part of it. I know, right? Alright, so here it is under load. Got a 5-gallon tank with a big old plate for dummying. Yeah, to dummy some stuff out. And yeah, hooked up to Bluetooth. Now if I'm upstairs, I can go, oh man, I wonder how I can also just hook a camera up too. It'd be so sad. I don't think I'll ever use this app ever again, but here it is. It's running on my Android. It looks kind of cool, but there's the interface right there. I would be hesitant to set this when I was upstairs without looking. I do like the brightness meter. That's pretty neat. Other than that, hey, how nerdy is that, right? This is a Android Samsung S9 Plus. That works out just fine on it. Real easy to install. All I did was put the application onto an SD card, and then I went to File Explorer and double clicked on it and it installed. Easy as that. So I hope you enjoyed.